to another issue of
Higher thought.
That's right. We got to think some thoughts.
And it's been way too long, Katie, and I guess we've just been, weighed down by the man.
Dude, life has just been freaking chaos.
I think that a lot of people can probably say the same thing.
Yeah, well, it's just a shame that the world has to be that way.
Well, I mean, and I guess we're all kind of, we think that slavery ended in 1865, but oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I'm a slave to the paycheck.
We all a slave to that paycheck.
I mean, if I stop going to work, how do I pay my mortgage?
And we do things that like make us sick and destroy our souls and us as human beings just for that paycheck.
Oh yeah, I'm nice to people that I would rather urinate on than talk to.
No doubt.
Because my job requires me to do so.
No doubt indeed. So, usually, here lately, since work is kind of kicked back up.
Woo! Work! Say that four-letter word.
Yeah, say it backwards.
Crow.
Crow.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, sometimes we think a little backwards here. So, we've got weeks of stories we can go through.
Weeks.
Is there anything that's been overarching the news as of late?
Syria, man.
Syria.
No,
Syria wanting to create their own currency backed by gold that's not the Federal Reserve System. That evil guy.
What is it? The federal? No, Oh crap! It'll come to me in a second. The
IMF?
International Clearing.
International Monetary Fund?
No. Where like when people want to buy funds, or they want to buy something in one country. Shucks.
Well, we got a lot of companies that are moving to drone delivery.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in how that's going to work out because I don't want some little drone dropping a package in the middle of my backyard. We've got dog logs back there. I don't want anything to splatter.
It's not going to go in your backyard. It's going to go in your house, in your pantry.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's
Absolutely
5G, man.
not.
5G,
Absolutely
and
not.
it's breaking out between 2020 and 2022. We've already spent $30 trillion on the infrastructure on all these light poles. But hey, we're all chilling. We're waiting for the new, faster internet, aren't we? Right.
Yeah. Well.
But everything in your house is going to be, all of your appliances are going to be on this link, and they're going to have a heat signature.
Why would you want to have an internet-connected microwave, or
Everything will be internet
refrigerator, or oven?
We're dependent on the grid, my friend.
Can you not turn your own freaking oven on? And you can
What if you
set the
drive
timer
away and you
so that
forget,
it
man?
delays.
Because they're going to have some ads that are like somebody's driving off from their house. Did I turn off the oven? And like you've got like your kids there, who of course could get in a fire, but you can turn it off from your phone. So you should get this 5G. I just made a commercial for these people.
Oh, those people. Oh, it's the Forex, the foreign exchange. It was established way back in the 70s as a way to clear trade values in currency with. This is where the whole derivative trading thing came in, where you're not really
petrodollar.
right. You're not selling anything. You're selling the value of the thing, whether it goes up, goes down.
Sure.
And the fact that America went off the gold standard, England
And the
went off
petrodollar is essentially
off the
worthless.
silver standard.
It's a political tool.
Oh, it is. It's a sham. It's
Well, it's the biggest sham in human history, and we're
No.
slaves to it.
the biggest. Is it really the biggest?
I'd say the financial system is probably the biggest sham in human history. It's the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Ponzi scheme. Yes. But
I mean,
sham?
through taxation,
Do you-
through even the insurance corporations. I mean, like, is there one person that is satisfied with their insurance company on
No.
what you pay
No.
to what you get?
Yes.
I don't think there is one person other than somebody who didn't pay and gets free crap.
Now, when I lived out in the country, I belonged to a rural electric something co-op. And if the co-op made money, every person got a payment or a credit based on the amount of electricity they used over that past 12 months. So a number of years, I didn't pay an electric bill for 3 months because they were preparing for the worst.
Sure.
Which didn't happen. I mean, we didn't have the massive snows, snapping power lines and all that stuff.
Right.
And to get 3 months of free electricity, which basically means I prepaid for it, why can't we do that for other types of services?
Well, Nikola Tesla came up with direct current,
Yes.
and it would have been free for.
No, he did alternating current.
No, that's
No.
Edison.
No, Edison wanted direct current. He was the one, because with direct current, you got to have the power stations every
Okay.
so often.
I'm
With alternating
backwards.
current, you crank the voltage way, way, way up, and you can send it down skinny, skinny wires. And then when it gets to where you want to go, you drop the voltage back down to your regular household foolishness.
Yeah.
And Edison couldn't stand to be the loser. Couldn't stand to be the loser. So you do character assassination. You do anything to destroy the enemy of your profit.
Well, that's the history of inventors and innovation. I mean, like, we were actually, I was educating some folks
Right.
on the topic. And we were looking at past inventors, and hey, Edison, Graham Bell, there's a bunch of them that basically, they didn't invent this crap. They were the first one to patent it. They had the money and the
Yeah.
power and the prestige to be able to get that patent. And actually Edison turned in his 20 minutes before this female who had invented the telephone, apparently.
Something, Scott?
Not Edison, I'm sorry. It was Graham Bell turned in his invention for the telephone.
Right.
Like 20 minutes before this woman who had apparently invented it.
Well, that's like Tesla and Marconi. Marconi stole Tesla's idea,
Sure.
patented it in Europe, and then brought the European patent to America and shafted Tesla on.
And we all know who owns Tesla's ideas now, the
Well,
military.
it used to be Westinghouse, but
Now it's our military.
yeah, it's the military.
Which, of course, they're using in HARP devices. I wouldn't be surprised if they're using it in many other, off the grid, top secret, black budget. Type
Black budget. That's why the toilet seats cost $300.
thing, So, what could going to Mars do to your body?
I read that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see honestly that going to Mars is a thing.
Well, if you got a big old meteor coming to take out your planet, or the planet is about to give you back what all you've been giving it for the
Right.
last year, a couple
Right.
hundred years,
Yeah.
because we've been destroying our Mother Earth, and it's a living, entity.
Could we
and it's
just
gonna-
kill off a bunch of people so that we don't need so much
Oh, it's gonna
electricity
go down.
and don't
It's gonna go down. I'm
need
gonna
so
send
much
you the link
food?
to that video.
I mean, nuke them till they glow and then shoot them in the dark.
Well, our military does have the capability. They tested a laser weapon that melts a truck's engine from a mile away.
Whoop whoop!
Yeah.
Go, baby.
So,
it probably
pretty
takes
soon
a,
they'll be
it
shooting us
probably
from
takes
space.
a ginormous power plant though. It's kind of like the rail guns. You know about rail guns?
Yeah.
Where you take a chunk of metal and you accelerate it at super high V, and it will go in a straight line. And when it hits, it still delivers that massive transfer of potential to kinetic energy.
No doubt. No doubt.
There's no fallout. There's no nuclear. And it just completely and totally decimates. No, decimate is even the wrong word. It centimates the target.
We're at that point.
Would you rather be delivering or be delivered upon?
On a decimating target?
Yeah,
Well, obviously, I'd rather be delivering upon.
right. So if you got the technology, are you not going to use it?
Well,
Come on, military industrial complex. We build the stuff, we blow up.
of course. And America is kind of the world military. All
Well,
right.
we build some of the, I mean, yes, I'll admit other countries do certain types of weapons systems better, but in terms of general assault capability, the United States is number one in non-finessed demonstrations of power.
No doubt. No doubt. That education story goes without saying. How about this one? Maybe the reason why we're all stuck in the matrix and why we're important to be as slaves and then we need to multiply is because we all know what the bankers really love. There is gold in our brains, and we know where it came from. So we all have gold in our brains as a receptor. How about that?
Good, good.
It's because we're made of stardust, and it came from part of like this explosion or whatever that led to human beings eventually.
Right.
So we got some gold.
There's gold in them there
Hey,
hills.
but if you just like combine all that gold, from all the dead human bodies, it was on, and
sorry.
you just turned it to where no, it's you only shooting at one. So, yeah. So gold in your brain. New controversial theory: past, present, and future exist simultaneously.
Oh, absolutely. It's a continuum.
Yeah,
And
time is an illusion.
do you have the ability to move yourself back and forth that particular continuum? Because you can move through X, Y, and Z. It's the what comes after Z? For T, because it's time. I mean, you can move left, you can move right, you can jump up and down. There's your X, Y, and Z. But can you move back to yesterday?
I don't think
Can
so.
you move into day after tomorrow while still living today? Evidently, I pushed the buttons in the wrong way. No, I don't think you can go back to the future.
Oh, well, you can't go in forward or you can't go back.
If you go back, do you have the same future to return to?
Well, it would be a different multiverse.
Ah, now
Speaking of multiverse, I don't know if I actually saved this
didn't
one.
Einstein do the multiverse thing, or was it somebody else? Fermi.
I think that was a little more recent.
Oh, okay.
They're actually talking about a movie for Spider-Man with the multiverse that has Tom Holland, the last Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire all in it.
Okay, who was it that was the Amazing Spider-Man?
God, what was his name? Garfield? Something? Andrew Garfield or maybe?
Oh, that sounds like a winner. Is that kind of like Infinite Earths thing? Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yeah.
Is that where all the different characters from all the different streams of the multiverse get jammed into the same space and time?
I believe so, and I think DC's got some similar stories with the Flash paradox or whatever.
Well, I remember reading the comic that was where the Golden Age and the Silver Age Flash ran into each other, and they had issues based on points of view because of the eras in which they live.
Interesting. Medical marijuana program looking for employees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me guess, you got to pass a drug test.
That would be interesting.
That'd be funny.
I don't even remember reading this one. How about two billionaires
Right.
are financing an escape from the real Matrix?
From the real Matrix.
2 billionaires are apparently funding research into how we can escape the simulation they believe we're trapped in. And I think there's a lot of, I've been into this rabbit hole myself.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of truth to it.
Okay, then why is it so f***ed up if this is a simulation,
It's
shouldn't
a
I be having
test.
shouldn't I be having a much better life than I'm having dealing with what I'm dealing with?
It's a test.
It's a test. So my ability to adapt, adopt, and overcome is going to let me level up and
And it's a rise in consciousness.
okay.
Because like different dimensions and even God, like a relationship with the source,
Right,
whatever you want to
okay,
call it,
right,
the
right,
universe, whatever. People have different names for it, and it's an energy. And it's not like a big old whited beard dude, like father-like figure standing on a cloud judging you.
Right. Well,
I mean, if anything, I would think that if you were going to personify God, it would be more of a black woman because it's dark energy.
oh, John Lydon, Public Image. Anger is an energy.
It is essentially, yeah. And so, anyways, a lot of this stuff I think is kind of like the test to see where you get in the next realm, so to
Right.
speak, and whether you can escape the soul prison, and whether you are part of the simulation that complies with the evil, or you stand up and rise with the people and fight the simulation for justice.
For justice.
For justice.
It's not just us.
Well, we're all one, and that's part of the
We
game.
are the world.
Well, and that's part of the game. You have to not only transcend and be your best self and love yourself and find that connection with the universe, but you have to realize that you have to love everyone as if they were you, because they are you.
Right.
Because we all come from the same source.
Okay. I work hard all the time at
Surely.
being a better person, and I still dislike some people intensely.
No doubt.
Their attitudes, their approach to life, their approach to other human beings.
And you have to shield yourself from those. Because demons do exist as well.
And I don't get to say what I really want to say because it would be inappropriate.
No doubt.
And the fact that we as a society tend to celebrate that sort of attitude and behavior where being intelligent is a negative sucks. Totally sucks.
You are definitely correct. So I was talking to you about the Ashkenazi Jews.
Right.
Who are so-called fake Jews. This is actually, you've heard of Louis Farrakhan? This is
Yeah.
Farrakhan in his own words, and he's kind of taken on this fight.
Okay.
So he claims that the leader, he is the leader of the Nation of Islam, has been a notable extremist figure railing against Jews, white people, and the LGBT community. Okay, so he frequently
So
denies.
he hates everybody.
He frequently denies the legitimacy of Judaism or Jewish claim to the land of Israel, arguing that Judaism is nothing more than a deceptive lie and a theological error promoted by Jews to further their control over American government and economy. Which, of course, these are all the bankers that run everything, that run all the media, that run all the pharmaceutical and insurance companies, that run all the military companies, and the weapon companies, and the science companies, and the publishing companies. Everything.
Everything.
So, let's see, and just to kind of go through, get some highlights here. There is a secret relationship between blacks and Jews, which blames Jews for promoting the myth that black racial inferiority, makes conspiratorial accusations about the Jewish involvement in the slave trade, cotton, textiles, and the banking industries. Farrakhan believes this book should be taught in schools. And this is a lot of what I've been kind of researching here, is that ultimately they stole the Jewish culture from the Hebrews and drove them out into Africa, which were black people.
Right.
And so,
Oh, man. That's complicated.
it is, and it's basically as if there's like a dark force, or like even like some kind of alien or all-knowing computer or something that is like running the show, on earth, and like this, vast conspiracy that runs all societies creates the reality that we live in.
The reality.
And people do not want their reality challenged. People are willing to fight for that lie, for the comfort of their own psychological thought.
Oh, well, then they need to do more psychedelics.
I would agree. So do you know that many of us who go to Hollywood seeking a chance, we have to submit to anal sex and all kind of debauchery? And this was another video that I've kind of been looking into as
Who
far
put
as like
that out?
the initiation. This is Farrakhan. still.
Oh, okay. We're back to Farrakhan.
Well, and
I mean, dude, do you realize that some of his stuff is just nuts?
I agree, but there is like evidence and witnesses and people that have actually said this.
Okay, did you assess the credibility of the witnesses? No, I'm not.
It's like former celebrities, like Corey Feldman is one of them. Like that's a big stance against it, and how he was abused as a child.
Right.
And like there are tons of them. And isn't it convenient that Chris Cornell, the singer of Soundgarden, or Chester, whatever his last name is, from Linkin Park, both of them were fighting the child sex ring.
Right.
And they both were happy people and were fighting their cause. And they were probably, they were off of drugs. They were, there's no signs of wanting to commit suicide. But they both got
okay. Now I
accidental
get,
suicide.
Now I get it.
And it's part of this, secret society, and that is part of your initiation into becoming a celebrity. I was doing some research as far as like they have this famous record producer from the '60s, and they're all based under this like the Zodiac Records, who owned like Sony, Motown, like all of the major record companies of the 1960s, and they were talking about how basically each record they had to take up to like this secret corporate room on the top floor or whatever, and they'd have a pentagram and they would perform like satanic rituals and basically like curse and put like the demons onto the record and send out like that vibe into the music.
Okay.
And that each musician, like this is like Crosby from Crosby, Stills and Nash,
Right.
that is like witnessed this and said this story coming from his words, from an article at least. And he was saying that basically that all musicians, professional musicians that were, in the mainstream, had to get practice and certified in the witchcraft. And they basically had to be, learn, witchcraft. Wiccan.
Okay.
And it's part of the rituals you go to. Now Disney
That's
owns
why
the little
their
kids.
music sucks.
Well, and now Disney owns the little kids, right? They buy the kids when they're little, and then they're in a 20-year contract with
They
them.
do a brain suck, and then they use that to brain suck the children of the viewing classes.
Well, and this group, which I was telling you about from Khazaria, and relates all the way back to even ancient, Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right.
And it's Khazaria. They don't teach it to you in the history books. There's a reason they don't teach you past the 1600s in the slave trade.
Why? What's the reason?
Well, because they don't want the African Americans, which I don't like that term. They don't want to believe. They don't want them knowing where they come from and their original heritage, and that they're stuck to one continent. That's like calling me a French American.
Okay.
I mean, like technically, I'm from all over, right? I'm
Right.
European, I guess you could say, that came over here. So, anyways, moving on. Lighter note.
Lighter note. I had this thing about used cars.
Okay.
Have you thought about what kind of prices used cars get these days?
A good little pretty penny, depending on what kind of
good
car it
little
is.
pretty penny. I've got
all kind of research.
a bunch of stuff, but anyway, I've got a 19-year-old and I've got another one that's about to turn 18. At some point, they're going to both need a ride. I've been looking at cars. You can't find a barely adequate used car
For less than
for
about
less than
$3,500.
about $4,000
Yep.
because it's got to have AC.
Yep.
I mean, this is South Louisiana.
Yep.
It's got to have AC.
It's gotta.
And $4,000 is the bare minimum for stuff that's got scabby interior.
I agree.
I mean, if you want something that looks halfway decent, rides well, has been maintained, $9,000.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Totally true. I could vouch for it.
a lot of this stuff started happening after Cash for Clunkers. What they did was people that had cars they were thinking about trading in anyway used those with the government offset to cover the purchase of a new, more fuel efficient vehicle. And all those older cars, which would have maintained the circulation of vehicles for people who can't afford new,
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
and you remove them from the marketplace. What happens to the prices of the vehicles that don't get turned in for Cash for Clunkers?
Go up.
Prices go up. I mean, you think about it.
We're being priced out of our society.
Right. How
We're
can
and it ends in with us in a bread line or in a camp.
people are buying new cars and they're taking out 72-month loans? And that's the average. Okay, so 72 months. That's 6 years. The car is worth bupkis at the end of 6 years, and you're still on the hook for payments. It's going to need a transmission, engine, whatever, because they build them to be disposable.
So if you'd like to call in, we're 337-366-8950. I think you can press 1, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
*1.
You can also tune in, aocinc.org/watch, and I believe it's channel 2.
Yeah.
If you want to do the streaming thing, I think we got logged out of our YouTube and we didn't know the
Yeah.
password. Maybe it didn't save, or there's an update. You know,
Yeah.
the CIA had.
Yeah. It is the CIA.
Yeah, well, that's where Google got their funding, their original startup money.
Really? I thought that was DARPA.
They funded a lot of stuff. The CIA is the most evil corporation in the world, or organization in the world.
Right. Well, they are a corporation. They've got a
America
plan.
is a
They've got
corporation. All we are is you can look up yourself on the stock market. Like, look at the number on the bottom right of your birth certificate, and you can look yourself up on the stock market.
That's scary because I'm worth bupkis.
Well, yeah, at this point in your life, huh? So, have you tried an Impossible Burger yet?
I have not. I've thought about it, but I generally don't eat fast food.
Well, apparently it tastes just like a Whopper, right? Well, doctors are sounding off saying that the Impossible Burgers are simply just not healthy and you are better off eating a regular Whopper than all of that processed garbage they are giving you in the Impossible Whopper.
Well, yeah, the Impossible Whopper is definitely pasteurized, processed patties of
Like
protein.
soy, tofu,
Right,
whatever.
and it's got heme, which is what makes it pink like meat. But it's got heme.
Yeah, so needless to say, it's really bad for you, even though you think you're doing a good thing. Let's see. Yeah, that's another teaching story. Anderson Cooper on his CIA internship.
Really?
Oh yeah, a
Cool.
lot of them. A lot of the major media people had to do that. Have you ever watched the movie? Let's see. Dang, what is the name? My Dinner with Andre
No.
from 1981.
Have not. What's the deal with that?
Oh, it's a great clip. I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube by playing it.
Well, give me the thumbnail sketch.
Well, I'll play it at the end of the show. Remind me, it's 2 minutes and 53 seconds. So, I mean, like, it's basically predicting the 1984 Orwellian world that everybody's asleep. And
Yeah.
in 1981, they're talking about it. you know.
Right.
There are
And
several movies that mention, like, the Twin Towers falling down and shit. Okay, physicists puzzled by strange numbers that could explain reality. That was an interesting story. The more chores a husband does, the more likely the marriage will end in divorce.
Come on.
How about that?
That's crazy.
Well, maybe because she sees you as like a softie, and like a real man would make me pick up after him and be like, biatch, please, you go clean that. Because hey, a lot of these ladies don't admit it, but they want that mean guy.
That mean guy?
Or the cocky guy, I guess. I don't know. PTSD.
Or is that the bukkake guy?
Hey, PTSD plummets for veterans who try horseback riding.
What?
It dropped by 87% just after 6 weeks of riding horses.
Okay.
I think it makes sense, man. Like, you kind of make a connection with the horse, and
Makes a
it's
connection.
relaxing, and it's like nature, and
Right.
nature heals, bro.
Right. But horseback riding.
Well, I guess if
Okay,
you don't have
no,
a bad
I mean,
hip.
Yeah.
They had a Saints player get fined for wearing a headband that said "Man of God," and so there was a big, upheaval about it. Like, that's good.
Upheaval.
And so, needless to say, they overturned it. They said he can wear it now, and he's like selling them and giving it all to charity.
Okay. Well, at least the money's going to charity.
Oh, this is where I see you maybe in 20 years. A 74-year-old man accused of getting his entire church high on weed cookies.
Woo woo! You go, Bubba!
Several congregants ages 12 to 70 ended up in the local emergency room on that fateful day.
That fateful day.
Yes, indeed. Master P buys a pro wrestling company and says Vince McMahon is in trouble.
Oh, okay.
Make
Well,
him say, Driving while stoned, marijuana breathalyzers expected to hit the streets in 2020.
I read about those, and the science behind those is pretty sketchy.
Well, the science behind this isn't. Why your brain needs time for doing nothing at all.
Oh, I'm down with that. I'm so totally down
I'm
with that.
ready for it. Let's see, Facebook paying $40 million to settle a lawsuit over video viewing times. I'm not sure what that one's about. I don't feel like getting into it. Let's see.
Does it have porn in it?
Graphic shows that 400 richest Americans paid less in taxes than any other people.
Well, that makes sense. The rich get richer, the rest of us get
They
screwed.
don't even have to pay taxes.
Well, they have to pay something.
And that's written in our
to-
Constitution.
To,
It's
to
only-
hold.
You only have to pay taxes if you agree to participate in the system.
No, you can't do that because the sovereign citizens get hammered on. Sovereign citizens.
If you choose not to participate in the whole game,
Right.
and you can live off the grid, off yourself, but they're making it harder and harder to live off the grid.
Okay. But they've got those individuals who do that and call themselves sovereign citizens.
Surely.
That they did not agree to participate in the.
And they've won in federal court.
No, they go to jail.
Some of them do, but some of them have won in federal court.
Okay, every one that
have
I've
some cases.
followed, they've gone to jail.
Well, maybe initially, but they were appealed and were able to.
Okay.
Because like once it got to the higher court, and if you agree not to, if you're not, consenting to the slavery essentially, and the taxation and the poisoning, and you are self-sufficient, well then that's not a crime. You're a free person.
Yeah.
Let's see. Longer exhalations
Longer exhalations.
are an easy way to hack your vagus nerve, which kind of is the
Right,
fight or
the
flight and the
vagus
chill.
nerve, Yeah.
Let's see. Conspiracy theories that turned out to be completely true. America's real divide isn't left versus right. It's democracy versus oligarchy.
Oh, that sounds totally true.
Let's see. Oh, this was a very interesting interview. One of the ones I was telling you, Representative Larry McDonald, Democrat, from Georgia, speaking against a one world government 3 months after this interview, McDonald died.
What?
Yeah, and this is from like the 70s. And like he's basically speaking out against like this Kabbalism.
Right?
And essentially, a few months later, he was dead. Bernie Sanders had a heart attack.
He did.
Really, the Democrats got nobody. Like, are they really counting on Bernie Sanders to win this?
I think that some sort of Bernie Elizabeth Warren thing.
Like, who
Is-
wants that? Really? Is that what
Okay.
the kids want nowadays?
You know what? People don't want Trump. People,
That's it.
People
It's the lesser of the
don't
evils,
want
right?
Trump, Pence. People
I get
don't
that.
want.
But when are we going to
what's
wake
that
up to this
douchebag-
cycle?
Right, the
This-
douchebag from Texas, Cruz.
Yeah.
That smarmy ass. But people don't want that either, unless you're an extremist. Why can't we,
We were
as
just talking about this.
regular Americans, say, hey, I don't like what you do, but it's not my business?
This applies to you, man. So, tiny homes banned in U.S. cities as government takes back control over the citizens. So we can't have energy sufficient, little like, nature sufficient, homes.
Right.
Tiny house movement has been attracting thousands across the country for the few years. The biggest reasons is because it's less of a financial burden with mortgages,
Right.
more sustainable living, freeing yourself from possessions, and you have portability. But the government and private interests don't benefit from any of these shifts in power from corporations to consumers, and have again tried to regain control in a variety of ways. They are banning tiny homes in an effort to eliminate the struggle of finding ways to suck out money out of these homeowners. Explicit bans on these homes, a number of square feet, usually you have to have at least 600 to 700 square feet, have come in cities in Tennessee, Idaho, Alaska. And a tax on solar customers.
Solar customers?
Yep, effectively wipes
Damn.
out the solar industry and allows the continuation of energy monopolies who contribute to political campaigns to ensure
Right.
their continued success. And it's the theme of the freaking night, every show, right? And it's all good because we're busy watching the World Series or Thursday night football.
Yeah. No,
There
my,
you go.
my escape pod is less than 100 square feet. And it's got enough room for me and the dog and the occasional cuddle buddy.
And the occasional Cuddy Buddy. Declassified emails revealed NATO killed Gaddafi to stop Libyan creation of gold-backed currency.
Oh, bulls. Corn.
Well,
No,
I mean, that's a fact. There was other stuff. He might have been killing some people, obviously, right? And the traitors, too.
Okay, so he was killed.
He was killed, yes.
Well, of course he was killed. The people got a hold of him and they shot his ass.
Not his people. He was, like, dragged through the streets.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can read
No,
the story. I mean, it's
it's just, it sounds so.
he tried to create his own gold-backed currency and get away from the Federal Reserve and do what was best for his people so they couldn't create a debt on their country
Okay.
and control their politics through that debt.
Okay.
So-
Except that Gaddafi was also sort of a nutbag.
I agree.
I mean, it doesn't.
But, like, that's what the story says, and a lot of these people, they're really just looking out for their country and their people, and, I mean, that's why the Nazis got behind Hitler, is because he was looking out for the economy and the best for what was best for German people after they had been screwed over after World War One. And
Yeah.
these...
The whole Treaty of Versailles thing.
Well, it
And-
screwed them over,
Right.
and basically they were one of the most powerful, like, independent countries in the entire world. They didn't depend on anybody. Everything was exports.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well,
Everything was.
well,
exports.
the majority of their economy.
No, not trying to be negative on that part because I know German engineering. I mean, they pride themselves on their ability
Surely.
to develop some of the finest engineered products. Are you buying a Chinese car or are you buying a German car? I'm buying a German car, thank you.
4 simple techniques to remember everything you learn.
What?
Techniques to remember everything you learn. Yeah.
Everything? Do I really want to remember all that
I
stuff?
know, right? Well, actually, Samsung has technology. They can delete part of your memory for you, just so you can go back and watch your favorite TV shows.
I don't want to have any of my memory deleted. I'm already suffering from CRS.
I don't want to talk about Joe Biden. He
Who?
sucks. Joe Biden. Climate change hoax collapses as new science finds human activity is virtually zero impact. Yeah. The era of spanking your child is finally over.
What? No, you beat that ass.
Well, not according to the American Academy of Pediatrics.
Okay. Well,
This is why we're falling
you
apart,
do
right?
it early at appropriate times, and you don't need to do it later.
The Infinity Saga. Basically, you can get all the Marvel movies, like the first 22, like in a package. It's like $500.
How much?
Like $500.
That's nuts.
I know.
I'll pirate that stuff first.
You know, like, or get the Disney Channel.
No, I'll just pirate
it'll
it.
all be
I'll
on the
pirate
Disney.
it just to piss them off.
Memories of music cannot be lost to Alzheimer's and dementia.
I've heard about studies that they do music and how some of the Alzheimer's patients move out of their catatonia or whatever at the musical stimulus.
Cannabis was America's #1, and how do you say this? Analgesic?
Analgesic, yeah.
For 60 years before the rediscovery of aspirin around 1900.
Right.
Which, of course, we all know why marijuana was made illegal in the 30s because of
Oh,
the
yeah,
industry.
Harry Anslinger and his racist bullshit and DuPont.
So
and
from
Hearst.
1842 to 1900, cannabis made up nearly half of all medicine sold, which with virtually no fear of its high.
Right.
I mean, they prescribed like heroin and cocaine and stuff back in the day.
During World War II, they paid my grandfather not to grow tobacco, but to grow hemp. And hemp was a cash crop
No doubt.
until the whole process
The
of
industry
turning
got to it.
trees into bleached white paper. That's where your DuPont chemical process comes in, and Hearst's paper mills.
This is just kind of a funny headline. In a new mind-blowing study, planting trees reduces carbon better than carbon taxes.
No, no kidding. Oh, that's nuts.
Wisconsin town made an anti-bullying law that fines parents. You're letting your kid bully?
No, that's bull.
Ooh, silent weapons for quiet wars. Have I told you about this one?
One more time?
Silent weapons for quiet wars.
Okay.
So this is an introductory program manual. So let's see.
So we're using suppressed weapons?
So everything that is expected from an ordinary weapon is expected from a silent weapon from its creators, but only the manner of functioning. Basically, the public cannot comprehend this weapon and therefore cannot believe they are being attacked and subdued by a weapon. And this came in 1932 whenever they passed the State of Emergency Act, which basically made our president a dictator and they could do anything they want because it makes the Constitution null and void, and we've been in a constant state of emergency since 1932. And so essentially we've had a dictator at arms and they declared war on the people.
Okay.
So, and this is when they started putting fluoride in the water, GMOs in the food, polluting the air.
Is that when they did the fluoride in the water?
Yeah, it was in
Okay,
the
I did not know
it was
that
late.
that
It was basically late 30s, early 40s.
Okay, I thought that was like a 1960s thing.
Oh no. I mean, like, of course, it's had to spread because people
Right.
were smarter. They're like, no, and essentially it's toxic waste. But therefore, a silent weapon is a type of biological warfare. It attacks vitality, options, the mobility of individuals of society by knowing, understanding, manipulating, and attacking their sources of natural and social energy their physical, mental, and emotional strengths and weaknesses. And this is like what Tavistock Institute works with.
Right.
You know, this is like, it's social engineering.
Right, absolutely. That part is totally social engineering. You're manipulating people's perception of the world.
So let's see. Mr. Rothschild discovered the missing passive component of economic theory known as economic inductance. He, of course, did not think of this discovery in 20th century terms. And to be sure, mathematical analysis had to wait for the Second Industrial Revolution, the rise of the theory of mechanics, electronics, and finally the invention of the electronic computer before it can effectively applied in the control of the world economy. So Mr. Rothschild's energy discovery, and like essentially he owns all the scientists as well, you know, and like this family's worth over 500 trill. So the General Energy and Electric, you've got Capital as paper inductor. That's talking about money, and essentially this is an entire document that goes with. I can't remember the Senate orders in 1932 that they passed the Right to Declare Emergency Act, and it's an entire book, where you can see all the links up here to the different chapters. But the Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, it is the manual for how they are essentially at war with the people right now. We have been at war with our Constitution, and our rights irrelevant since 1932.
Okay, wait, before we do anything, I need to do this because...
Oh, add it. Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. Check it out, people. It's a very interesting read. And, you know, if you're not the big reader, go look at YouTube videos. They have plenty of it on there that describe this document that essentially declared war on the people. Our government was infiltrated in 1913 when Woodrow Wilson sold us out to the Federal Reserve and created the IRS. And essentially it is progressive. Wouldn't you know it, a couple years later we're in World War I. When we didn't want to go to war. Then wouldn't you know it, we get in a Great Depression because they're controlling our banking system. Then wouldn't you know it, you know, we've got a 4-term president. You know, and then wouldn't you know it, we go to...
president.
Yeah, we basically go to World War II. We drop nukes. We become the world power, you know, and we are essentially the world military. The artificial womb, and just like looking over some of these chapters here. The artificial womb and basically the government taking over control over the birthing process. Let's see. The application in economics, the economic shock testing. And they were waiting on this technology to come out of the cell phones, and it's been predicted for hundreds of years. And honestly, I wonder sometimes if like Aristotle and Socrates and them were planning the perfect, you know, way for the intelligent, rich, powerful to take over the world, and the masses, and while the masses let them, because before they were always outnumbered.
The masses are dumbed down, so they're the dumbed masses.
Through their food, through their water supply, through you know, the media, through the brainwashing.
Yeah.
The blueprint for tyranny. And here's the video for it right here. That, like, I saw the video and I looked up the document, you know, so I mean, like, and that's usually where I go with it, is like I'll see something like, holy smokes.
And as long as they provide links to the documents they refer to,
I'm the same way.
That's the thing I'm down with.
I'm the same way, man. Like, give me some quality sources.
For their citations. Let me look at their...
And it's always experts talking on it. You know, I mean, it might not be like a major media publication, but you can't trust any of those anyways. Flying solar islands could extract CO2 from seawater and produce fuel. Floating solar islands could extract CO2 from seawater and produce fuel. How about that?
Okay, don't know about that. I have heard about the floating islands for solar power.
Right.
And it's like building a small
No surprise.
natural gas fired power plant. But I didn't know about turning seawater into fuel. That sounds pretty awesome.
You can turn just about anything into fuel. You can turn hemp into fuel. You know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Louisiana remains one of the nation's poorest states. Big surprise. We're last
Right.
in everything that's good and first in everything that's bad. I also heard we're number one in the flu virus. Right now, too.
Yay! I think we're going to be the first state that where abortion is illegal.
Right.
First state in the union where abortion's illegal.
I think Alabama already got that one on us. They actually I mean, I don't want to get into the abortion topic. How about NASA
I know, but
admitting climate change occurs simply because of changes in the Earth's solar orbit, and it
What?
has nothing to do. NASA admits that climate change occurs because of changes in Earth's solar orbit, and meaning like our, the magnetic, balancing.
Right, we've got
and
precession
and
and
we're
all.
further away from the sun, or
Right.
at a different angle, or and so it's more about that than it is, our carbon emissions. so to speak.
Okay,
How about this one? The Nobel Prize. The person who got the Nobel Prize for creating a gay bomb. Basically, it was a bomb that they. So the unusual weapon confirmed by Pentagon sources is a gay bomb. So and this dates back. No, I'm serious.
no, I believe
The story is like crazy too. So the project, which home officials say has now been scrapped, scrapped.
Right.
Come up with a device
least
to
it hadn't
release
been
unspecified hormones that could be absorbed through the skin or the lungs, thereby incapacitating soldiers who, according to plan, would be too busy swooning over each other in a homosexual ecstasy to waste any time dashing about planting roadside bombs.
Oh my God, swooning.
It releases
You
the
know what?
hormones. It's
If I could
biological warfare. It's going on. We don't even think
I believe in biological
And
warfare.
wouldn't you know it,
totally.
since 2000, since 9/11, basically, the gay population in our
Oh,
country
don't
has
tell me.
quadrupled,
Don't.
if not more.
No.
Is it in our food, or is it just like the
No.
culture? Is it what we see on
It's
TV?
just people
Or
are
people, you were
saying-
just born that way. You were in the closet before, right? Okay,
Yeah,
Jurassic
well.
Park 3, 129 ways to get a husband, meh.
129 ways to
Oh,
get a husband?
In 1958.
Oh, okay. Well, then good, because I want to avoid those particular thought patterns.
I would agree to that. What is this? Cannabinoids can be useful in treating the side effects of cancer and cancer treatment. Duh.
No, duh. Next,
Come on.
we got bullying. It looks like huggy kissy things. We got something going on with the brain.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, we got
I
the
think I've
ass,
covered
we got
all
the
these.
ass whipping thing. We got the Biden
I skipped
thing.
over a couple things.
Burning.
Ooh, this was a really interesting one. I'm gonna have to send you that one. And you're not on the books of faces.
No, I do not book the face.
But if you are on the books of faces, I suggest you try to follow. And then, like, I've been following this one. I've actually talked to their moderator or whatever a couple times,
Right.
through email. But Perplexed Perceptions,
Perplexed.
they give some like
perceptions.
really like mind blowing and these are like senators talking about like the global oligarchy that is going down,
Right.
and like basically the wars on the people, and hey, they might be dead a couple months later, after this video is shot.
Right.
So I mean, it's very interesting.
Cool. I'd like you to send me that. link.
Another one that I've been kind of looking at is, and this is something you can search for on YouTube. They've got documents like, ancient historical documents talking about Khazaria, the ancient country of Khazaria.
Correct.
The fake Jews, which are basically the Ashkenazi Jews, and basically which are also called the Synagogue of Satan. Check it out. Very interesting stuff. I'm not preaching any of this as fact. Go look it up yourself. But it's ancient history. It's documented.
It's ancient history.
And to a certain degree, when you own all the publishing companies, you can write the textbooks, and you can control the history. And so this goes back to, and a lot of it is, even on ancient texts that are being now discovered.
Right.
So we missed you, Acadia.
And what's accepted as canon
Surely.
Right, because you don't see the, what's his name, the testimony of Jude, or Judas for that matter. I mean, there are books of the Bible that don't get published to the regular people. Why?
Well, apparently these people, these Ashkenazi Jews or the Khazarians, were descendants of Noah. I guess from Noah's Ark. And that's the most famous Noah I know as far as in the Bible.
All right, well, the only other Noah I know. I
And they were
hope to
originally
God
kind of
he
from
doesn't-
Russia. And like the Ruse, the red
The
shield.
Rus, yeah.
The red shield. And like that's basically the Rothschilds' motto.
I thought the Rus were the people from Scandinavia, whatever. That
Basically,
came
yeah, which was
up
part
the
of
river
Russia.
And then first were trading, and then they kind of lived and grew and took over this area.
Pretty much. And
And-
a lot of it was the Vikings, but we got 10 seconds.
Oh, crud.
Good to be back at it. We missed the
Fun.
show.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in if you were tonight. If not, catch us on the replay. Peace.
Much love.
I think it streamed too, because I clicked it and it just started.